Ow. What is going on, guys, and welcome to today's video. My name is Jordan Bowe, and today we're going to be doing the 5 things I love and hate about my Audi R8. That rhymed. Welcome to Driven by Jordan. Oh my God. On today's video, I'm out here in a little parking lot up top. The reason, I'm be honest with you guys, I'm sitting by my car hiding a little bit, is because it's windy outside. This just seemed like the appropriate spot. I'm gonna show you guys the 5 things that I hate the most about my car and the 5 things I love the most about my car. If you guys wanna see me do this video with my Mark 7 Golf R, please be sure to leave a like and comment down below telling me to do this with my Mark 7 Golf R. Starting from number 1, we're gonna start with the least favorites, and then we're gonna go into my favorites. We're gonna do that because there really isn't anything I hate about this car. This car is absolutely perfect inside and out. I am absolutely loving owning this car. I literally had to sit down for a solid amount of time to think about something I could even say negative about my car. But we're gonna start with number 1, which is kind of an obvious, starting with the speed. This car with only 420 horsepower is not the quickest car in the world. You would also think that it being so light, that 420 horsepower would move it incredibly quick, which it does, but the numbers do not really match up with how it actually feels to drive. This car is estimated to do 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 4.6 seconds. I've also seen 4.4 seconds, and I've also seen 4.2 seconds. Keep in mind, this is a gated manual. The manual transmission definitely cuts off some time on that. You gotta think, one shift could literally cut off 0.3 seconds. And that's where you really see the difference in numbers. But the only thing that confuses me is that on the automatic transmission, the numbers recorded are pretty much the same, because the gearbox in the pre-facelift of the first gen R8 is pretty horrible. The R-tronic gearbox sucks. I'm sure the S-tronic gearbox has more significant numbers. That's not really important. This car is slow, but it doesn't feel slow by any means. My Golf R is APR stage 1 tuned and does 60 in around 3.8 seconds, which is significantly faster than this car, but this car feels way faster than my Golf. Keep in mind, this is a naturally aspirated V8 and my Golf R is turbo, so you definitely get that feeling of getting thrown in your seat with the turbos, but in this, it's more of that torquey feeling where there's no lag and the car just wants to go. I've never really had a problem with how slow this car is. That's just the first thing that comes to mind when I think of a con, talking about 2012 Audi R8 V8. And that brings me to number 2. My second least favorite thing about this car is that it's a 2012. And by that, I mean, I'm driving an exotic car from a previous sort of evolution of vehicles where the interior of this car doesn't have a heads-up display. I don't have Bluetooth. I don't have a lot of the amenities that come with these new exotic cars or even these new entry-level cars on the market. A 2019 Toyota Camry has double the tech that I have in my 2012 Audi R8. There's really no issue with that. Like I said, same as the speed. It doesn't bother me. I didn't buy this car for the comfort. I bought this car to get behind the wheel, drive, and that's really all I really want to do. I don't even listen to music much when I drive this car just because I feel like it takes away from the audio of the car. I like to hear the car, it being a manual. I like to hear where the clutch is catching. I like to hear the gated manual shift. I like my windows down. It's not a car that I bought to sit and enjoy technology. I really didn't. I like the technology built in the engine. I like the technology that was put into the actual driving side of this vehicle, not so much the tech on the inside. But that's definitely a con, I would say, in this car. That is gonna bring me to number 3. My third least favorite thing about this car is probably the brakes, okay? These are the brakes straight off the old gen RS4 from Audi. I don't hate the brakes. Keep in mind, this is a car with 16,000 miles on it. The clutch is perfect, the brakes feel perfect, everything is perfectly broken in and hasn't even seen its life yet. So I'm definitely seeing the good side of these brakes. I just say that because I hear a lot of bad things about them. When you're coming to really, really harsh stops around the canyon or at the track, which I haven't been able to experience yet, I will soon, I hear that it definitely has a limit, and the limit is definitely not as far as you want it to be. I haven't really put the car through situations where I'd see that. I mean, I have done a couple canyon runs and I didn't really have any trouble. That's just what people are saying, so I figured I would mention that as one of the flaws of this beautiful car. Also, guys, if it's windy, I'm sorry. I don't even have my mic right now. I'm just at the top of a cliff and I didn't realize it was gonna be this windy. Moving on to number 4. This is gonna be a little bit of an interesting reason. Hear me out. The suspension. The previous gen Audi R8s came with Audi's magnetic ride suspension. I'm not exactly sure if the new generation R8s have gotten rid of that or if they fixed it, made it more reliable, but let me say this car now has 16,000 miles. I bought it with 14,500 miles. When I took it to get PPI at a pre-purchase inspection, one of the two only problems with the cars was the front left shock was leaking and about to go out, and the right and the rear were going to start soon. That's because the magnetic ride doesn't last very long, and replacing it's like a $5,000 replacement from the dealer to put back on the exact same mag ride shocks that went out in 15,000 miles. I went ahead and just replaced the suspension, and now I have BC Racing coilovers, which I like. They're definitely the entry-level coilovers. I didn't want to spend 5 to 7 grand on KWs, which I would obviously recommend to people, but the suspension itself was amazing. The mag ride is amazing. The problem is it just goes out much too fast, and replacing it is so expensive just for it to do the exact same thing it did before. I definitely do wish I was able to use the mag ride button where I could adjust my suspension, make it stiff or comfortable, but I just set these to like more of an OEM comfortable stiffness, and I really don't even find problems when I'm doing canyon driving. I'm sure if I went to the track I'd be missing out on a little bit of performance, but it's really not a big deal, and it keeps me comfortable while driving what shouldn't be but kind of ends up being my daily driver. Moving on to the last and final thing I hate about my Audi R8. I don't hate it, it just rhymes, so sorry. The final thing that I hate about my Audi R8 isn't even in specific about my Audi R8. This is gonna be about owning an exotic car, a supercar in general. This, as most of you guys know, is my first exotic car, and this is something that I knew was going to happen before I even had it, and I always try to live in the moment beforehand because I knew this would come. Owning exotic cars, wanting these cars, a lot of you guys who are watching this, you love cars, you live for cars, you can't wait to own your first supercar, your first sports car, really anything. You just love driving, right? The want to owning these cars is such a better feeling than actually owning them. And owning them is great, don't get me wrong. Like I said, driving is a big part of it, and whether or not you get that lethargic feeling, driving it is still always gonna make you happy. But I'm just saying, you set these goals, right? And that feeling, you see them on the streets, like imagine if I owned one of those, and then owning it, it's not a letdown. It's definitely a lot less climactic than you guys would think. And guys, I still set goals. There's still cars that I get that feeling about, right? But I just feel like I'm gonna get to a point one day where I buy a Koenigsegg, a week later I'm just like, oh, this is what it's like to own a Koenigsegg. And I just want to mention that for you guys out there, and I really want to stress the fact that if you're a car enthusiast who doesn't actually own an exotic car or a supercar yet, enjoy the process, enjoy that motivation that it gives you, because owning it is definitely great for a certain amount of time, but definitely becomes normalized after a while. It's a feeling that you're gonna have to get used to. Overall, I absolutely love my 2012 Audi R8 8 manual V8. I'm definitely gonna be selling this in the next couple months and buying something different, trying to work my way up the ladder to what I want to buy. I'm not going to spoil the couple cars that I want, but just know on my channel you're going to see a lot of garage change in the near future. I was going to do the 5 things I love about my car, but I'm going to save that for another video because this is already a whole video in itself. So if you guys want to see that video, please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys subscribe. Love you guys, and I'll see you on Wednesday. Peace.